Exciting times, perhaps not so exciting times for others, but the tax season is upon us. It basically kicked off on the 7th of July, and most of you guys will have received auto assessments effective from the 1st of July up to the 7th of July. Some of you might even have received some refunds. I've seen some few colleagues being excited that they've received refunds and all that. But basically, it's your money, hey? It's not like you're getting paid money that was not yours in the first place. It's your money. But before we get any further, maybe let's unpack what is an auto assessment. So an auto assessment is basically SARS doing the tax return on behalf of the taxpayer. And this is done basically from third-party reports, which includes your ERP5 from your employer if you're a salaried employee. It includes third-party data like your banks, your medical aids, and so forth. This was introduced a few years ago just to take away the burden from the taxpayer because a lot of the people are not knowledgeable about taxes.
South African SARS, South African Reserve of Bank, about understanding ukuthi SARS operate kanjani. They don't have an accountant. Lapana receiver of avenue, you need to have an accountant. SARS, South African Reserve of Avenue, you must have an accountant so that you also comply with tax. Yeah.
What should you do then if you have been assessed by SARS? So the first thing that you should do is to go through the tax return and make sure that it's complete and it's accurate and you can verify that information to your payslip. That's if you're a salaried employee. Most of the time, if you had one employer, it's more likely to be correct because the set of data is from one employer. But in the event that you had a multiple of employers in one tax period, it can be complicated, and that might need you to verify it just to ensure that you have the right details. The second thing to check is if you have rental properties, you should just make sure that you declare such income and the rental profit or loss that you're making in that property. And that information is very crucial. If there is one thing you can't rob SARS, no matter how many years after the fact, they can come back to you. If you're making rental income and there's a rental profit, SARS will want to tax you, unfortunately. The other thing, if you're a freelancer, you might have to pay more attention to the tax return just to make sure that you declare all your income. Otherwise, you might not be in the good side of SARS, and I don't think you can afford to do that. You can owe anyone but SARS. This also speaks to YouTubers. If you're making any money, SARS might have already included some of the income that you have made from YouTube because that data will be directly from the bank. But it's very important to review this. Included with that is the interest income. SARS might make errors, and it has done that in the past for few people where it makes errors in terms of overstating that interest, or to an extent that they don't even treat it as an exemption because you are eligible to be exempted if it's local interest. The other thing to note is that you have until the 23rd of October to amend your tax return, which SARS has done for you. If, for example, you want to declare your rental income, your other trading income, or you want to claim your medical aid deduction, and that would include your medical expenses. So basically, if you incur some medical expenses that were not covered by your medical aid and you have kept those receipts, you are able to claim those medical expenses. The other thing that you might want to check, if you receive a travel allowance, you might want to claim business kilometers. In order to do that, you should have kept an accurate logbook. And this is very crucial because SARS will tax you on 100% of the travel allowance that you have received from your employer. But obviously, to a certain extent, you have used your car for business travel, and that you can claim from SARS. Another thing you might want to claim will be your home office expenses. Very critical, this one. SARS audits most of these ones, and I think in the prior year of assessment, they did find about more than 60% of the people that claimed their home office expenses were actually in violation, and that resulted into a full audit scale by SARS, and I don't think you want that. So just be very careful if you are to claim that one. The other thing will be your other qualifying expenses in relation to any trade that you have. If you have sold your rental properties, it's very key that you declare this to SARS, whether you have made a capital gain or you have made a capital loss. In the event that you have made a capital loss, for example, you bought a property for 500 Rand, but you were only able to sell it for 400 Rand. That implies that you have made a capital loss of 100 Rand. So SARS will allow you to roll forward this capital loss for potential future capital gains. In other words, you will not be able to offset your taxable income with the capital loss you have made on your rental property. But if in the future you buy a rental property and you subsequently sell it, let's say you buy it at 10,000 Rand and then you sell it for 11,000 Rand, you will have made a capital gain of 1,000 Rand, and you will be able to reduce that by the 100 Rand capital loss that you will have made in the prior year of assessment. So it's very crucial. It might not seem beneficial when you're doing it, but in the long run, you might need it. Another key thing to note is that in this year's auto assessment, SARS does not have the accept button. But it still allows you to amend the return, and you have until the 23rd of October to do so. With that being said, you can still amend your return even after SARS has provided you with a refund. Because what SARS has done, this is unprecedented, whereby they do the auto assessment, they give you a refund without you even accepting the return. So make sure you don't eat that money, because if you have to amend your return, you might end up in a situation where you owe SARS and you don't want to go out of pocket because you charged that money that you had not budgeted for. I hope you guys will find this information very helpful. I think it's very key for me to declare that I am not a tax practitioner and I'm not registered with site in any designation. And this does not constitute a financial advice. It's just my opinion. But yeah, I am thinking of registering as a tax practitioner. Let me know whether you guys will be looking to use my services. Ciao.